Okay, thank you everybody out there for your patience and letting us get all of our commissioners in the room and to get this meeting started. It is 1:07 on Friday, March 13th, and I'm calling this special meeting of the Sunset Empire Transportation District Board of Directors to order. Those that are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Sarah, would you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Alegria?
Present.
Commissioner Montero?
Here.
Commissioner Romero? Commissioner Stolberg?
Here.
Commissioner Teeple?
Present.
Commissioner York?
Here.
And Chair Casey?
Also here. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda as it is presented, keeping in mind that we have one topic that we can discuss at this meeting? Seeing none. Public comment, item number 5. Do we have any public that wishes to make comment? There's a 3-minute limit per person for public comment. Is there anyone online that would like to make public comment? Waiting long enough so that somebody that needs to unmute themselves or raise their hand can do so. Seeing none, is there anybody in the room that would like to make public comment? Seeing none, moving on to item 6, approval of the minutes from the last meeting. I hope everybody's had an opportunity to look at those. These minutes are what we need to approve in order to have them be effective. Questions? Motion.
I just want a question and a statement. These are the minutes that will be provided to the bank to reaffirm that that Sarah is being appointed to move funds amongst our bank accounts.
Correct.
Okay.
And banks plural.
Bank accounts.
Yes.
Yes, banks accounts.
Yes.
Okay, and the other thing, given that we've added the action items from the board meeting after every one of the minutes, I think it's a good idea for us to also be able to say which of these have been accomplished and that kind of thing. I don't know if that happens after we approve the minutes or in discussion of the minutes.
Well, let's make a motion regarding the minutes and then we can discuss that since it's a new thing. Do I have a motion regarding the minutes?
I move to approve a March 6th special board meeting minutes.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Alegria, Vice Chair Alegria.
I'll second.
And seconded by Commissioner Teeple. Discussion.
So now, yeah, okay, good deal. So I'd like to just go down the action items and be able to check off which have been done. Given that we have a statement of work in front of us, that one was done. Did the staff advertise the position in the Oregon Government Finance Officers Association job board?
Yes.
Okay. And were Commissioner York and TAC member Vituli and Budget Committee member Fleck notified of their position working with the on the
TAC?
No, not on the TAC, on the interview. The
Yes.
interview process.
Yes,
Okay?
all 3 were notified and it's all scheduled.
Okay. And do we have detailed information about which district funds are in which bank accounts? Okay.
And it'll be presented later.
All right, that's good. And I can tell you that the last one, I do now have access to view our MAPS and LGIP accounts, and am doing that. So all of those items were accomplished.
Any further discussion regarding the minutes? They accurately reflect the meeting that we had a week ago. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Actually, because of the bank purposes, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Alegria?
Aye, yes.
Commissioner Montero?
Yes.
Commissioner Solberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Teeple?
Aye.
Commissioner York?
It's my understanding that even if you don't attend a meeting, you can vote to approve. So, aye.
Chair Kasich?
Aye. Technology makes it as such that you can watch the meeting after the fact and know that the minutes are accurate. Okay, so we have approved minutes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the discussion of the budget officer appointment. So yes, Executive Director Carr has moved forward with our direction and has a report on the statement of work and interaction with SDAO.
So I created a scope of work, and for working with SDAO, and as I had mentioned previously, they will not provide us with this, they were not able to provide us with this service.
Not?
No, they will not be able to provide the service. They're going to provide us with support services, and we talked about that. So we have an outline of some of the things we can do with them in support of this position. What I wanted to offer today, and what I mentioned previously as well, is that there are CPAs and things like that that might be able to perform this duty for us. At this point, I don't know that anyone will do that, but I prepared alternately a scope of work for a CPA or preferred CPA to perform this duty for us.
Why does it have to be a CPA?
It does not have to be, I'm just saying it's preferred. That way we can get the most highest level professional person we can get.
Okay.
So I prepared an alternate RFP because in the preparation of the RFP that you requested, I was concerned that we would have to go back to the drawing board again. This one is an alternate. Oh, they're over here. I'm sorry. So this would be an RFP for a budget officer for us. It outlines what the purpose is, the scope of work. If you look at the scope of work, it's for budget officer function, including reviewing and leading the development of the budget, leading preparation of the budget documents, and so on and so forth. So this would give us, according to ORS 294, the requirements we need to meet that budget officer position.
And my question is, why are we calling it an interim budget officer? It seems to me a budget officer is appointed every single year. This is not interim to anything else. It is a budget officer for this year. So I don't see why we're calling it interim.
I think that's just semantics. I think when we were talking about this earlier, we put in interim, and because we felt that once we had a staff person, might be able to assume that role, but in future subsequent discussions, it didn't seem to make sense. And so I would just remove that from the project title, because we are looking for a contract budget officer at this point.
Yeah.
I would like to back up just for a moment.
Sure.
And say that I don't know if you looked at the statement of work, the scope of work that was presented to SDAO Consulting Services.
I did.
And I would like to know in more detail what you're describing as their response to that statement of work.
I received an email from them. I don't have it with me. It basically said they would not perform any interim services or provide us with staff to do this type of work. They offered us to provide other duties in terms of what they could do to review previous documents. There are some incongruities in those previous documents in order for us to kind of validate and verify that they were correct, and then we could use that basis to create a new budget going forward and have this other third party do that work for us on a contract basis. So they would provide us with consulting services and support us and staff throughout the process.
Commissioner Montero.
Since that conversation took place before the statement of work was reviewed by the board, I would like to see a copy of what was sent to SDAO requesting them to respond to this, and I would like to see their response.
So you have in front of you what was submitted to SDAO in the packet. That was the statement of work that was submitted to them.
This was already submitted. I thought this was supposed to come to us first for review.
So this was submitted to SDAO for their for their input on whether they were able to provide those services. And their response I emailed to everybody today because I had thought that that was going to be part of the packet. Shanta, who made the response, is actually on the call and is able to answer any questions if we have them. I think that their response was very detailed and actually does mention quite a few services that we would be looking for that they could provide. The board would just need to decide on, based on what their response was, as far as services were concerned, what services the board might want to continue with to be able to contract with them, and come up with a detailed statement of work based on the work they said they could do. I don't know whether you've had the time, whether you've gone through the statement of work that is in your packet. I am seeing now that it doesn't make it clear that this was already submitted to SDAO for their review. And personally, this statement of work includes quite a few things that are staff roles that are things that SDAO pointed out they are not able to do because they cannot provide us with interim staff. And so I think that there's a few things that have been crossed over here as far as duties and responsibilities. And so I think the board, as the board, we need to be really clear about what we're asking for as far as the role that we need filled for board purposes and budgetary purposes, and the role that the district needs to fill as a financial officer. And at this time, they're sort of muddled. And so it's going to be difficult to figure out how we are going to thread this needle to be able to make sure that the board is getting the information we need so that we can go through a budgetary process. So I believe that there is a combination of these things that are in front of us that is going to be the best way forward. Commissioner Alegria.
If the actions that would be for staff only contained in this statement of work were eliminated, would SDAO do it?
I think that the question should be directed to the representative from SDAO.
It's directed.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me?
But we can't hear you,
Can't
Shanta.
hear you yet, Shanta.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I can hear you guys. Hello?
No, we're not hearing you.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Try again.
I can hear you
No,
guys fine.
can't hear
can
you.
Hear me?
Can you text them or something?
Can you hear me now? Hello?
No,
Hello?
still can't hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Jason, do you have speakers muted
Our
someplace?
speakers are working, the TV is picking up audio.
Uh-huh. So it seems like her microphone is working because it is being picked up, but
Yes.
we're not hearing the audio. So that is an issue on our side.
Well, if she talks, we've got the transcript right there, do we
Correct.
not?
Is it actually
So
transcribed?
why don't we just have her talk and read the transcript?
Well, if somebody were to
It's not
watch
clear.
this in a public meeting, they
Oh,
won't see the
that's true.
transcript.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
Can you
Nope.
hear me? Hello? 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 Hello?
Do you
Hello?
maybe want to
Hello?
leave
Can you hear
and
me?
come back?
I do-
Can you
Does
hear
that
me?
help?
I think that her microphone is working.
Can you?
So you think it's at our end?
Mm-hmm.
Might be a speaker issue.
Can you hear me?
Because online can hear, it's us that can't hear.
I can
But
hear
you could
you.
read
I can hear
it
you.
aloud, so then anyone in the audience.
Yes,
Good point.
thank you, that's a good point.
Yes.
All right, Shanta, we're gonna go through with this, keep talking, and I will read the transcript as you're talking so that it can be heard by those in the room.
Okay, hi, I'm Shanta Carter with SDAO. I manage the consulting services program. I actually forgot what the question was, so could somebody repeat the question?
I think that is understandable.
Oh.
So the question was, so Shanta says she is from SDAO Consulting, and she's happy to answer the questions, but we need to repeat the question. So the question was, what services are outlined in the scope of work that SDAO is not able to complete? And if we were to remove those, would SDAO be able to
Accept the contract.
accept the scope of work?
So what's going to
Yes.
happen when you guys agree to utilize the services that SDAO is offering, we will actually prepare a scope of work detailing the items that we can assist the board with. We did appreciate David's scope of work so we could kind of get an idea of what it was exactly that the board was asking from us. Again, like I've explained, there's some things in that scope of work that we do not do. And so with the email that I responded, based on the information that Betty and I discussed on how we could assist the board, I was hoping that the board would be able to look through that and kind of determine, yes, they want to proceed forward with SDAO and supporting them put together their budget. You guys will need to appoint a budget officer. You are going to need to appoint a budget committee. Those are all things that are going to also need to happen prior to SDAO being able to assist you.
So at this time, just to respond to that, we do have a budget committee and we have budget meetings established. The one thing that we don't have is a budget officer because our finance officer resigned during the meeting that we were going to appoint the budget officer. And so that is something that the board will still need to decide and get clear on as far as who they'd like to appoint as the budget officer.
Good. And then once the board decides what you guys want to do going forward, we have already drafted a scope of work that's a phase. It has 5 phases that'll kind of get you through the next 10 weeks of assisting you in kind of determining what was in the last budget and getting some questions answered as to certain pieces of that budget. And once we clear up those items, then proceed forward with actually helping you guys develop the budget. And when I say we're helping you, we're not doing it. Hopefully that's very clear.
Okay, maybe, does that mean you will not be the budget officer?
Correct.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I mean, not thank you for saying no, but
For clarity. Okay, while Shanta is unmiked and answering questions, does anybody else have questions for Shanta? Right now. That doesn't mean this is your one shot. Commissioner York.
First of all, I'm glad that you did have this conversation before so that, we're able to move forward more in this meeting than we would have otherwise. I was going to suggest an addition to, a possible addition to the scope of work. So I'm going to mention what it is now. It's relative. I just, in the last couple of days, have gone over the forensic audit reports that we received in 23 after our services have been shut down, and then there are some updates to it, including summaries of things that were required to change. Policy committee is addressing some of those, we're picking those out. But some of them, I think, relate, absolutely, they relate to things through the accounting office and through the budget process. So what I was going to say was really 2 things, or request 2 things. One, that whoever this person is, or maybe in this new way of looking at it, the people who are helping in some capacity would review those forensic audit documents themselves. So they're aware that what may be questionable in our records and what possibly there would be opportunities to clean up during this phase. And then that those folks who help in some way would give a report about any of those things that they were able to address or notice, so that we would know whether or not those requirements that we have by other outside agencies are in process, have been completed, and we can be up to speed on what work we have left to do. That's my, I guess that isn't really a question. Somebody could make it into a question, maybe.
Are you asking if Betty can review your forensic audit to kind of answer some of the questions that we probably have in regards to your guys' audit from last year?
Yes, exactly.
I don't want to speak for Betty, but I think seeing the forensic audit would help her a lot in some of the questions that we'll need to ask of the committee or whoever we're assigned to once we start this project. So yes.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Alegria.
I'm not sure what to ask anymore in terms of we need to get out of budget. We need a budget officer, and then you're asking someone to actually do a semi-audit of our papers, financial statements. That's what I'm hearing.
That's what you're hearing?
That's what I'm hearing. So I think you may be eliminating somebody when you say, well, I want you to be the budget officer, which has definite steps and requirements, but then to include a review of our of Sunset's records is separate, I think. If we make a mistake, if we're not doing, yeah, that's all I have to say. I think you're combining, asking someone, one person, two jobs for one person. So in other words, to be the budget officer hearing to help Sunset prepare a budget, and two, to review our records that there have been problems, issues in an audit at the same time to make a budget. And that, I think, is asking a lot for a budget officer in a very short period of time.
So this person wouldn't be our budget officer. The person that is doing the financial review and helping us have the information that we need for a budget officer to put a budget together is separate things. So that is what we would be asking for assistance with, so that our budget officer could coordinate the best budget that we can get during this time where we potentially won't have a finance officer. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's rather
Commissioner Montero?
That is what I am seeing, is that SDAO would not perform the specific tasks that a budget officer performs. For instance, the budget officer gives the budget message at the very first meeting of the budget committee. However, I believe that the other tasks that we are talking about in this 10 weeks course are tasks that do need to be done in order to put together the best and most accurate budget that we can for our next fiscal year. If we don't have people who are knowledgeable looking at the past and advising us on what to do for the present and the future based on those things, I think we're not getting the best advice. I don't think you want to put together a budget without looking at the review of the audits, of what was our budget in the past, what is our financial situation. And so I think that consultative service to whoever we name as a budget officer who has the specific task of just putting the budget together. I think it works exceedingly well. I think that's what we're asking and what we're looking for.
Commissioner York.
Just for context, it took me 3 or 4 hours to read through those audits. I maybe not at the most detailed level, but it was very informative, and you would have a sense of where data might be missing. You know, don't bother to look for it because it's missing, and in some cases what it means or how things were recorded. And again, the highest level, it ranks in their recommendations those that are most significant. So I think it's very informative. I think it's very informative.
Commissioner Alegria.
I agree with you. It's very informative. Pardon me. There have been, upon review of the audit, Sunset was to answer whether it had been done or not. And so that was with, anyway, I'll just say the previous executive director. So that's one point. The thing is, it seems to me that this has to be done by SDO if we so choose, before you send out a notice for a budget hearing officer. Budget hearing officer. Because I think the budget hearing officer should be fully informed. I'm not sure what that means, but before he or she accepts the position, and I don't see how working simultaneously would cause problems.
Anything further from the board at the moment? Executive Director Carr.
Shanta, in your response with Betty, you mentioned a few items about how there were some things that were maybe incongruent, or just we had to kind of go and look at, and you hit it right on the head, Tita, in that before we can move forward with another budget, we need to make sure that the one that was already presented and established was in good order. The discussion with SDAO was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shanta, was to look at those things and to ensure that what we had was in order. Is that correct?
I think part of this process, Betty would like to meet with the staff that is able to speak on behalf of the budget, and potentially board members that understand the reasoning why the budget was approved last year. There's quite a few questions that she had that were missing, and just make it very clear in the budget as to why certain things were the way they were. I'm not going to speak to all of those, as I kind of sent them in that email. But yeah, in looking at the forensic audit, that wouldn't be us auditing you. That would be us understanding the information that is being put in front of us to help give you guys guidance in moving forward. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did, and I appreciate that, because I think what we need to do, and as I've talked to a CPA, working CPAs, and they're like, they could do this work for us, but can they be assured that the basis of this work, the previous budget, has a solid foundation? So the approach I was trying to take, and I was communicating to you as well as the CPA, is that if we can work with you, establish the budget in a way that there's confidence that the numbers we're working with are good, and that the fact that what we're building upon is solid, then their role as a budget officer moving forward would be secure in the fact that we have good data. You know, our budget has 53 line items or something like that, and it's not a really large budget. But I think we have to drill down into the forensic audit, drill into the documents that were produced previously, and ensure that they're all consistent. So the numbers in one document are consistent with numbers in other documents, and I think that's the basis of what our discussion with you is. And then once we've had that discussion, we've done that discovery, we have confidence in what we have, then bringing in someone to be the budget officer, putting that together for us would be the best thing we could do in the circumstances.
Commissioner Alegria.
Well, now having read this quickly, just scratch what I said before, and this needs to be resolved before, I thought you were talking about previous, the whole kit and caboodle prior to this. Yes, this needs to be resolved before we proceed.
Commissioner Montero, sorry, put a little
You're fine.
brain
You're
freeze
fine.
there for a moment.
Don't worry. So, what I'm understanding from what Executive Director Carr is saying is that we would bring in SDAO to perform, to make sure that everything from the past is on track, everything is, that our start is appropriate, correct, etc. And then we would appoint a budget officer and create the budget. My concern with that is the timeline. And that is, we have until June 30th to approve a budget. And so is the timeline good enough? And does SDAO's consultant see that it's possible to do the work in stages, I'm going to say, so that that we're still meeting our deadlines for the board to approve a budget for FY 26-27.
Was that a question?
That was a question.
For?
Well, actually, I would like to see from the timelines from SDAO and then understand better what Executive Director Carr is meaning.
We do have it identified in the scope. I'm actually looking at what Betty and I were discussing in the last couple days, that in the first 1 to 2 weeks and 3 to 5 weeks, we are reconciling what the budget was for FY 26 and trying to determine all of that before we can proceed forward with the other stuff. Ideally, in a perfect world, you guys have a budget officer in place that the consultant can work with along with the budget committee. But with that being said, I think within the first couple weeks, you guys would be fine, but you're going to want to appoint a budget officer sooner than later. Did that answer your question?
It did, and actually adds another question. Earlier in our discussion, you identified the budget officer as being a staff responsibility. Is that, did I understand that correctly?
I didn't state that.
No, I think what was stated is that some of the requirements in the scope of work are actually
Staff requirements.
staff responsibilities.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Stolberg.
Oh,
Wait, I'm sorry.
there's a response.
The second part of the question for Director Carr.
What I perceived as the best way to proceed with this, and my plan was to try to get a budget officer and SDAO concurrently. Because there's things we can do on the budget in terms of working with staff, building up our spending, looking at our past spending and stuff that we can do right now without SDAO. We know what we want to do in the future. We want to project things in the future. We want to develop our internal budgets, and we've been trying to do that for quite a while now. With a budget officer in place, they could help us construct the budget and basically what we want to do going forward. How it aligns with the past and how we would present it, it really has a lot to do with how much funding we're going to get and those kind of things. So we have to be sure where we start from, which is what SDO would help us do. So how much money do we have to start? And then as far as how much we're going to spend and what we're going to do, we can do that at the same time because they're not connected. So we can do this, build up a budget, and then of course, if we come back at the end of this and say we're not gonna have enough money, we would build a budget that's less. If we look at it and we have more money, then we would build a budget that's more. So I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think we could, if we can find someone willing to do that role and help us to construct the budget, there's a lot of work we can do with staff, with what we already know and what we have in the last year, the current fiscal year's data. If we can determine that that's good, then we can build this budget, we can project for next year without having that basis cleaned up. And then once it's cleaned up, we add it to that and we make adjustments depending on where there are inconsistencies or things that don't line up. But there's a lot of work we can do. We know things like, well, I won't go into all the detail, but there's things we can do now. So my proposal would have been to do both of these things at approximately the same time, work with staff to develop our side of the budget, work with SDO to make sure our fundamental starting point works, and then going from there.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Commissioner Stolberg?
We might have moved past the relevance of this, but in the interest of the clearest context, I wanted to see if I could take 2 minutes to read this, because I'm getting lost.
All of the things that we were handed today during the meeting, I agree.
No, just this.
Well, there's also another one that you were handed today too.
Yeah.
That was previously.
This was not previously distributed.
No.
This was not previously distributed.
Right. So I didn't have time to read this
Appropriate
email.
request. So
Yeah.
I think that we will recess the meeting so that the board can review the documents that they've been given during the meeting today. We will recess. It is 1:44 and we will recess until 1:50.
And where is that addendum?
Which addendum?
The one you just can't.
It was handed out during the meeting today, all by itself. It's not part of the packet. So we will reconvene at 1:50.
Oh, here it is. Oh, I see.
Okay, it has the highlighting.
Yeah, Tita.
But it's not called agenda.
1:52, and I call the meeting back from our recess. Has everybody had a time to review the documents in front of us?
Yeah.
Distributed. Okay. Questions? Commissioner Stolberg.
Sorry, forgot to put that out.
Okay.
This is not so much a
Commissioner
question.
Montero.
Thank you. Not so much a question as an observation. Reading through what we received from SDAO, I'm in complete agreement that all of the needs that they have outlined that we have are actually our needs. And I would propose that we should proceed engaging them to do the work that they see that we need, and adding on the review of the audit bringing forward. I think that's part of it. I think the only place I have a question is understanding what they mean by the second to the last bullet, Shanta, assisting staff, executive director of the board, with a structured approach to FY27 budget development.
Where are you?
On their proposal, their email, second to last bullet, turn it over.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure exactly what that means in relationship to the work of a budget officer.
Well, we wouldn't be the budget officer. We would be the person facilitating putting your budget together. So I think that part was just identifying that we're going to assist you all and to get you to the point that when you guys actually hire your finance director, they'll be able to easily walk into it and understand what she did and the steps she took to get you there.
Okay. So
Commissioner Tebow.
I have a question for Executive Director Carr. Between the email from SDAO and your addendum, got it all covered?
I believe so. The original request was for SDA to do this in consultation with it, close consultation with them and others. I pivoted to this to try to create that document that we would capture everything they were able to do for us. And I think they did a really good job in being able to create an umbrella to get us to a point where we'd be able to build a budget. And at the same time, we would look for, this is designed to be the capstone to that. So once we have that done, if someone were to agree to help us do this, there's no guarantee that a CPA or someone would be willing to do that for us. But I think this gives us that's the last piece.
That's our ask.
And this should be able to, so whether it's them, CPA, I don't remember the reference to Gardner or whatever, this would be able to provide the outline of what we need a budget officer to perform as per ORS 294 and the subsequent titles, and this would give us that. It does make it complete, yes.
You're calling them a consultant in this.
There would be, it's a safe it's a legal determination.
Okay.
We don't want them to be an employee. We're not going to hire someone to be the budget officer for the duration of this. So it's not like it's not like we're not hiring them.
Okay.
So the consultant I think that's the best phrase we could use. So just to separate that we're not offering anyone a job here.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Commissioner York.
I think basically it's a good plan. It's so helpful to get SDAO's advice and analysis at this level, because it's that analysis that tells us what is really a workable plan to be able to move forward. I would say on the word consultant, contractor would also reflect
Fair enough.
that. I don't know which is better, but I understand making it clear that we're not looking for an employee. I think along that line, calling it an interim budget officer just emphasizes to an applicant, somebody who's thinking about it, that it's really interim. And it's very limited because it's, I think, 6 months to,
30 to 90 days.
a month to 3 months. So that, that could stop when a new person is hired and if they're ready, or it could continue and working in tandem until the work is finished. I'm going to plug away again under scope of services. The first bullet is reviewing and leading the development of districts.
And which document?
I'm sorry. Good point. I'll call this item 7, discussion of budget officer appointment.
So wait, let her finish. I interrupted. Go ahead.
So number 3, scope of services, budget administration, budget officer. Reviewing and leading the development of the district's budget. I would again want review forensic audits there. It just will inform their work.
Review forensic audits?
Yes. Maybe there's a better term for it. There are specific names to the documents that.
Yeah, they are, but the audit's so,
So there might, I'm sorry.
it's RLS.
Hang on. Commissioner York, are you finished?
I am, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Montero.
Okay. We've been talking about this as being a 2-step process. It certainly would work way better for me if we would take them separately and consider them separately, as opposed to bouncing back and forth and talking about SDAO and then this scope statement of work. So I would like to, I'll make a motion that we direct and authorize the executive director to move forward with a contract with SDAO to fulfill the needs that have been identified regarding our budget and financial services as outlined in their email of March 11th, 3:44 p.m. from Shanta to David Carr. I think I got everything in there. And to make sure the forensic audit piece is in there.
So there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner York to authorize the chair to move forward to develop, to work with SDAO to develop a scope of work based on the email from the date mentioned.
Yes.
Date and time mentioned.
And it wasn't the chair, it was the executive director.
The executive
You
director.
said chair.
I said chair, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I meant to say
That's all
executive
right.
director.
That's all right.
So that the director will move forward with the statement of work as developed by SDAO based on this email. Is that?
The only thing.
And hire them.
Yes, I said an authorized.
Contract with them.
To contract with them. The only thing now that I wonder is, do we need to put a maximum dollar amount on that contract? I do not know.
Can I speak?
Hang on.
Yes.
Yeah, so do we need to put a dollar amount on that board?
I'm interested in the response from Shanta.
Okay. Shanta, please reply.
Our
Thank
fee
you.
agreement will be a not to exceed of $5,000. So that doesn't mean that you guys will pay $5,000. It means that that is how much the consultant will utilize to bill her time and travel.
Okay, I would add that to my motion then. Not to exceed $5,000. Can you?
Accept that as a second. Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? So Commissioner Allegria.
So are we accepting all these high-level areas that may be benefit?
Yes, so I just want to give Shanton an opportunity to clarify that this email is a high-level overview of the scope of work that they are going to prepare. This is not the scope of work. This is a high level of what the work will be. Is that correct? Or
Yes,
am I?
and we've developed a scope of work that'll identify all of the phases of the process that we're going to assist with. So it's basically everything that's in this email, just broke down into a scope of work and into 10 weeks of 5 phases.
Does that sound?
Okay, so,
Commissioner Allegria.
And I can provide that to the full board once we have it finalized.
if this work exceeds $5,000, are we authorizing it?
No, it's not going to exceed $5,000.
They had
That's
just
what they just said, they're
that
not
they
going
would not
to.
exceed.
Okay, but then they may not accomplish what's written here.
No, that is part of the agreement, is that within that dollar amount, they will accomplish the things that are part of the scope of work. That is how those kinds of agreements work.
Okay.
Okay. And Commissioner Montero.
Oh, I just forgot to put it down, I think.
Director York, oh goodness gracious. Director Carr, did you have any other questions before we move forward with this motion?
Are we going to have a discussion about the budget officer stuff?
That is the separate thing, yes. It was separated, it was separated out, yes. So,
No.
okay. Commissioner Stolberg.
Can we have that read back by Sarah before we vote on it?
The motion?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
The motion was to direct and authorize the executive director to move forward with the contract with SDAO to fulfill the needs that have been identified regarding budget and financial services as outlined in SDAO's email on March 11th at 3:44 from Shanta to Mr. Carr, and ensure the forensic audit piece is included and that the agreement would not exceed $5,000.
Everybody clear on the motion?
Yeah.
Commissioner York?
I appreciated hearing it again, it was helpful. And what I was listening for was the authorization to make sure that it does not say that it has to come back to the board. I mean, one issue here is timely moving forward, and I feel we have enough information that we can do that.
Okay. Commissioner Legge.
Answered my question.
Perfect. Any further discussion? Shanta, sorry. All those in favor of the motion on the floor? Sarah, would you do roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Allegria?
Yes.
Commissioner Montero?
Yes.
Commissioner Stolberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Teeple?
Yes.
Commissioner York?
Yes.
Chair Klesik?
Yes. Thank you, Shanta, for all your help. Look forward to working with SDO Consulting to get our budget put together.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care, all.
Thank you.
Okay. So then the next piece of this, Commissioner Montero.
So the second piece of this is then the actual budget officer work. And while, as I was reading, I wrote down 3 times, is there an official job description for a budget officer? And I'm thinking that, is this what's included in Oregon local budget law, ORS Chapter 294? Is there a job description that we are looking to meet? Because when I see services shall include ... I want to know, is that in the job description? Is it not in the job description, etc.? And then the deliverables, I think, would also come out of a job description.
Anybody else?
I have other comments, but that's my specific question. Is there a job description for a budget officer?
Commissioner York?
So I don't have a direct answer to that. But I think that if we're contracting with someone, it wouldn't necessarily be a specific job description. They would be the contract details. But I think your point about it having to align with the statute is critical.
Yes. Commissioner Allegria?
Are we allowed to do the text of this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is under purpose, which is on number page 4B2. On to third paragraph, which states that blah, 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 preferred blah, CPA credentials are not required. I would prefer they're required. Guess I've gone through a lot here. I want as much credentials. I mean, you just read doing what we're doing today, read any back documents, and we need someone who's certified, 1, and 2, government. You know, it's so different than private sector, and I don't want someone to have to bone up 24 hours for their exam on government spending, but they have to have experience in government budgeting. Thank you.
Commissioner Montero?
I believe that it's in here under the consultant qualifications. And you know what? I will first say I agree with Penny's use of the word contractor over the word consultant. I would like to change consultant to contractor as we go through.
Oh, this is an interim.
So, but it does say public service sector accounting or municipal finance. That's a requirement. Government budgeting or special district financial administration, that's a requirement. Financial reporting and audit preparation requirement. Compliance requirement. I have to say that budget officers in our municipalities, budget officers in our special districts, budget officers throughout that I know of that are already staff aren't CPAs. So I don't understand why a contracted budget officer has to be a CPA.
Commissioner Allegria?
Well, I do. I mean, if they're not qualified, we have enough problems with budgets. Okay,
Okay.
Take it easy, take it easy.
I'm going to make a statement that's to kind of
Okay,
over the top of this.
Okay.
Extra information, do with it as you wish as far as the discussion is concerned. We just assigned SDAO with a qualified CPA to assist us in preparing documents and keeping our budget process in line. To me, that means that we have a little bit more flexibility with the budget officer, making sure that that person has their eye on the big picture of our budget versus specific CPA duties. And to that, I think our description of scope of services is not for budget administration, because that is a different animal. We are looking specifically for a budget officer if this is the road we're going down. Budget administration means that they will be administering our current budget. That is not what we are looking for. That is the role of if the district needs to contract with a finance officer in the meantime before they hire somebody. Budget administration is not what the board is looking for. We're looking for somebody that is a budget officer who puts together the budget message and our coming budget. Just putting that over the top. Now the discussion should continue. Good. Commissioner Montero, were you finished or did you have something else to say?
No, I got more.
Okay.
So, and thank you, because that's exactly where I was going with all that. As I go through this document, then I have other questions specific. So let's, I'll just put in section 5, the deliverables. Given that the second bullet there is the budget calendar and timeline. I believe we already have that, and this would be suggesting that we are going to change that. So I'm not sure that would be a deliverable from a budget officer. If you go down, you have the fourth bullet is attend and lead budget committee and attend meetings in person or virtually. That I do see as a budget officer job. But then if you keep going down and you say hold budget meeting, I believe the budget meeting, and since those are only 3 words there, we don't know which budget meeting, but typically a budget meeting is the budget approval meeting, and that is the purview of the board, not the budget officer. Second to the last bullet, certified taxes. I do not know what that means, and I think that we know what our taxes that we're going to get. That's given to us through a statement, I believe, from the county. So I'm not sure that a budget officer certifies taxes. So those are questions I have specific to item 5. Item 6, term of engagement. I don't know, it says the engagement may conclude earlier upon stabilization of financial reporting processes. Financial reporting processes are not a purview of a budget officer, I do not believe, so I don't know why that would be there. Hiring of a permanent finance officer. If we already have a budget officer who's doing all this work and halfway through that time or in June we hire a permanent finance officer, I'm not sure that would be an appropriate time to terminate an engagement of a budget officer. Completion of financial reconciliation and advisory services. Well, right now I think those services are coming to us through SDAO, so completing of that to me would not mean that we would conclude the work of the budget officer. I want to go down to item 8, coordination and communication. I believe that the budget officer should be, their contact with the district should be the executive director, not the human resources manager. This is our budget. This is something that I think directly needs to be working with the executive director. If they are working with someone else, then all it is that person passing messages on to the executive director. The executive director, as you see at the very bottom, retains final authority. This person should be working directly with the executive director. Those are all my comments.
Just for clarification, we're making comments. Nobody has requested there to be any changes to be made, any sort of consensus about changes in this statement of work. Just wanting to make sure that we're not going to have to do this all over again and go through this again. At this point, comments are just making everybody else aware of things.
Yes.
So, Commissioner York, did you have your hand up and I missed it? Or okay.
So I want to go through some of the comments that were just made. Under 5 deliverables, correct, the budget officer doesn't hold a meeting. It's actually chaired, I believe, by the budget committee chair, which may or may not be the chair of this body. Mm-hmm. I know that, stretching my brain way back, at the end, I think of a budget discussion for the commission, we vote on accepting the taxes, some around certifying taxes. I don't know what happens after that.
That's the responsibility of the board to vote on accepting the tax rate and the ad valorem.
Right, that's right. Under term of engagement, it says may conclude earlier upon, and it looks like that's a decision by, I would say, the board and the executive director, whether or not keeping somebody on and there's some duplication or additional work, that seems all okay for me. I think the point is well made about having this person's contact be the executive director, and so there isn't any, that seems like a good feedback loop when you're going to be trying to move pretty quickly, and that it's technical. So.
Commissioner Stolberg.
I'm trying to think how to put it. Okay, so my question is, I guess this. Because I don't have the ORS 294 in front of me and I can't remember exactly what it says, I think that it does delineate the functions of the budget officer, but I'm not sure. I wish I could refer to that, but I can't. But would we get guidance from SDAO on what that scope of work would be for the budget officer at all to be in line with ORS 294? Which would lead to answering these questions that we're currently discussing.
I would say probably not. However, the Oregon budget law officers, the people that Oregon's department that oversees that could answer those kinds of questions.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Alegria.
I would think, personally, I would like to see item 6 deleted. I think that's not the purview of interim budget officer.
Item 6 on where?
Oh, I'm sorry. Budget officer. That's on page.
The term of engagement.
Item 6 is term of engagement.
Right.
That defines
We have to have a term of engagement.
the
Like
term.
stabilization of reporting.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about the items that are on there.
Right,
Okay,
right.
not the fact that there should be a term of engagement or not. Okay,
Probably this wouldn't be,
okay.
like hiring the finance officer. I don't see why an interim budget director officer has that. It seems like this is outside the scope of creating, overseeing a budget hearing. Stabilization of financial reporting, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Completion of financial reconciliation and advisory services. Why would a budget officer be doing that? Mutual agreement between the parties? I don't know what that means. It doesn't say anything except you say you agree. Okay, and I thought the signatures of each party is the mutual agreement. So in other words, if there is a term of engagement, this isn't what I would use, because it doesn't define what we're asking a budget officer to do.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Montero, instead of going again, I'm going to redirect our conversation to make it more specific. So we're going to start on page 1.
I was going to do a motion.
Well, we have to go over this in order to make a motion.
You want a motion for every change? Is that how you're
No.
thinking? Okay.
I don't want a motion for every change. So we're going to start on page 1.
We only have one lifetime.
So we have page 1, which is this one, the very opening page. Is there any board member that would like to make changes to anything on this page?
I would change the bullet where it says SOW for a CPA to serve as the budget officer, SOW for an interim budget officer is what I would change it to.
Because it hasn't been signed.
No, but this is what we're discussing, so.
No, I mean the budget, SDAO hasn't been signed.
That's different.
Has nothing to do with
I'm sorry,
SDAO.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a proposal made.
The proposal would be simply to call it a statement of work for an interim budget officer.
And I will say, we don't need an interim budget
Okay,
officer.
for a
We need
budget
a budget
officer.
officer.
Take the word interim out, because I didn't like it to begin with.
Okay.
But I don't want it to be
Okay,
only a CPA.
Okay,
poor Sarah.
Just
You get a
focusing.
blue ribbon for this.
We're focusing in our discussion here. Okay, we're turning the page.
I'm not sure I understood that. Say that again? Can you say that again?
SOW for a budget officer.
Strike interim then?
Strike interim,
Okay,
strike
and
CPA.
Okay.
Okay, so page 2, statement of work.
I can go down all this, because I got it all here.
Okay.
Statement of work, remove the word interim. We can say CPA preferred, not required, and leave it that. Project title, strike interim. Under purpose, I don't have any proposed changes.
Contractor versus consultant.
Oh, yes, take out the word, wherever you see the word consultant, remove it and put in contractor.
Anybody else in purpose have any changes that they see they'd like to have made?
Okay, I guess I'll not require CPA.
It says it up at the top.
You get to vote on
No, I want it required.
But you want it required. You want there to be, the CPA to be required to be our budget officer.
Well, I guess that eliminates a lot of people. We're in a small town, and that's why I'm not going to require it.
Okay.
She's not.
Perfect. So we're in number 1, purpose. Anything else that needs to be changed based on the board opinion? Number 2, authority and legal framework.
Change wherever it says consultant to contractor.
And I would like to also make a change there, because we're asking the contractor not only to provide advisory services, we're asking them to provide actual services. So the consultant shall not independently authorize expenditures, move district funds, execute bank transfers, sign checks or financial instruments, commit the district to financial obligations. Because the advisory services is what SDAO is providing.
So you're saying remove
Right.
The
serves
sentence should
in the-
say,
Yes.
the contractor shall not independently authorize independent expenditures, move district funds, and the rest of those bullet points.
Perfect.
Okay, just, so shall not independently, actually, I would like to say shall not, but, how about, I mean,
You could even say, take out the word independently. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
looking
yeah.
at? Yeah, shall not.
I
Okay.
like that.
And then you strike the last sentence as well.
Yes, because even the executive director can't tell him to do the things he shall not do.
Correct. Is everybody
Wait.
good with that?
And you're, I'm sorry, so you're,
Striking the last sentence.
Get rid of all that.
okay.
Okay.
Good?
Good.
Scope of services.
I thought
We're striking budget administration. And
Yes, where's that one?
Where is that?
the very top, scope of services, it's in blue.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
so we just say budget officer,
Correct.
scope of services.
and you don't have review audits or not? That
This is where we would put that in.
We're going to change consultant to contractor.
Yes, contractor.
Didn't you want review audits, Commissioner?
Right, I don't think we're there yet, but yes.
Oh, excuse me.
So
So we're-
add that as a last bullet,
Bullet point in there.
review previous audits. To inform work.
That's good.
And then just be forensic audits. All audits are extensive. I don't know how far back they go.
So review audits conducted within the last 3 years to inform work.
Review,
That takes in the 2023 audit.
review last 3 audits.
Audits conducted within the last 3 years. To inform work. Let me see. Assisting with budget adjustment documentation, what does that mean?
If the board asks, or the budget committee asks for any sort of adjustments or
Got it.
changes.
All right. Ensure alignment of financial records. I don't think that's in there. That's not a budget officer.
So we're deleting the ensure alignment.
1, 2, 3, the fourth bullet.
Ensure.
Yes. Advise district leadership on compliance with budget law, yes. Assist with preparation of financial information, yes. Support financial forecasting and expenditure monitoring. I believe that's administration of a budget. That is not prep of a budget. I would take that out.
I don't know if that's true for financial forecasting. I understand the expenditure monitoring is administration,
But forecasting, a budget officer isn't doing the forecasting of the expenditures.
But they're doing
For 1
forecast.
year. Okay. Do you want to leave that in there?
So how do we state that so that we're really talking about for budget purposes?
Because aren't you estimating the revenues and the
What you just said.
expenditures?
Supporting financial forecasting for budget purposes, for budget development purposes.
I'd like to see expenditures and revenues get to
So
the
not supporting, so financial forecasting.
Financial forecasting for budget purposes. I think I said budget preparation purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody? Any better words? Okay.
And I'd just like to see revenues and expenditures.
Well, that's part of the, yeah.
Okay,
That's-
I may not have,
Revenue and expenses are part of a budget.
I know that.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see it in writing, because anyway, do what you want.
financial records is the broader term.
Okay, take that, I'll take that.
And then other budget-related duties as required, I don't, what does that mean?
That's a catch-all. We're gonna,
There might be some sort of
Okay.
follow-up on rules or requirements, filings, something like that. I think
Do we
that's
want to
not
say
bad-
other
not a bad thing.
budget-related duties or other budget officer-related duties?
I think that this is okay, I think.
Okay.
With me.
I think so.
I think this is okay. If anybody else sees need for change there.
Again,
And then we, as the last bullet item, is the review previous audits to perform work conducted, previous audits conducted within 3 years to inform budget work. Did we get that? Okay. Next page.
first of all, change the word consultant to contractor.
can we stipulate that we'll do that throughout the document?
Yes.
Okay.
You can just hit a fine and
Sarah will replace all consultant references with contractor.
So the last sentence, after we've got these qualifications, we say professionals with demonstrated experience in et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, may also qualify. That just leaves it sort of, what kind of professionals? I think we're just opening the door wide open to anybody again.
So I would, to me, the way that I interpret that is if there was an executive director from another district that had performed all of these duties previously, that has demonstrated government finance experience because of their experience, public budgeting or municipal finance, without the public sector accounting and municipal finance. They've been a budget officer, they've led budgeting before, but they aren't necessarily,
Okay.
that's not their field or where they come from. That would, to me, mean that they would then also qualify to
Okay,
potentially
I
be
get
our budget officer. That's how I translate that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's how you all read that. So Commissioner York.
It's common in notices to say must have and may haves. And to me, that's the may have. You know, if they're missing one little piece, but they have something else that's similar, but that it allows the person to be hired and placed. Maybe then you give them additional help because they're missing one little piece.
But we're not hiring them, we're contracting with them, and I'm not sure I would want a contractor who I have to give extra help to meet the qualifications.
It depends on whether you can't find anybody else and this person can do 95% of it, then I think you'd want to give them a little extra help to make it happen. That's why you must and may.
Would it help to add special district experience with special districts in that,
It's there,
in the last,
second bullet.
Yeah, government budgeting or special district financial administration.
okay, so because that's how I would look at this last sentence, basically, is special district
Right.
experience.
It just opens the door a little bit wider than finance officers.
And I would say what she's proposing is good. In that last sentence, professionals with demonstrated experience in government or special district financing.
So I just put
District is
special,
government finance.
yeah, so I just put special districts. Because we're not here to teach them.
In the second bullet, we say government budgeting or special district financial administration.
It's true. Okay, so do we want to add special districts in the last sentence?
Yes.
Everybody okay with that? Yes. So we're adding special districts in that last sentence. Okay. We good with that section then? Commissioner Legria, did you have something else?
Oh, no, just,
Deliverables.
we said to delete calendar and
Nope,
timeline.
we haven't decided to delete anything yet. It was just a comment. At this point, we're saying
Excuse me.
If I
And
could,
I would say the deliverables not may include, but will include.
Shall is the stronger
Shall,
legal word.
okay, I don't have a problem, will or shall, doesn't matter to me.
Not legally.
Okay.
so I created this list out of the ORS for what the budget officer's duty should be. So I tried to take what they asked for and put it in here, so.
Okay. Given that we already have a budget calendar and timeline, we're not asking somebody else to deliver that.
I think there's other sub-timelines within the budget calendar, because I think there's a whole other calendar section they show me. So we have our budget meetings, but then we have other committee meetings, other newspaper requirements, other postings and stuff. So it becomes a larger thing, and the budget officer is by statute required to provide the schedule? Or actually, maybe not.
It's in here.
It's recommended.
That's
Anyway, I
a
just-
sample budget calendar, not a budget officer's responsibilities. So,
But I took it out of, well, okay.
Because you have a line item, assist with publishing notice of public budget committee meetings, budget summary, budget hearing. So that's where you get your timelines
so
that we haven't done.
So our budget calendar, as far as the meetings and our deadline, our final deadline, has been established.
Right.
So that was a board decision that decided that. So we're not going backwards and giving all of those dates back up again. If our budget calendar and timeline is the only thing keeping us from being able to hire somebody, the board could decide, hey, we need to move one of these dates.
Right.
But it's not the budget officer's job to determine those dates.
Right.
And
That's
what
the
I was referring
board's.
to was the budget officer shall file a copy of the budget document. So these are just a list
That
of
is
the
a different,
documents.
right, that's a different thing down here, the budget document. So
Yeah.
let us just go through this because I think you're gonna get your clarity here in a moment. Commissioner York.
Not necessarily from me, though. I think that is needed. Somebody has to have that responsibility. I think there's every possibility that there will need to be some detail added, some adjustments made, but you could say budget calendar and timeline as needed.
So my problem with that is that the board determines when those meetings will be, and it's in conjunction with, but that is the board really, that's a board decision, not a board officer's, a budget officer's decision.
I understand setting budget calendars.
Mhm.
At a high level, that's done by the board.
Mhm.
But there are details, and somebody has to make it happen,
Mhm.
that it is delivered in that way, and clarify if they see a problem. You know, it's, you have these two dates and we can't get that work done between those two dates. I would prefer somebody who understands they're going to be looking out for the calendar.
Okay.
But I think if you add as needed or as directed, that they're not going to run away with anything.
And I've just figured out the line there is the budget preparation calendar and timeline versus the budget meeting calendar and timeline.
That
So
works.
if we add the word
Yes.
preparation in there, then we're making it clear that they are responsible for making sure that things happen in order to be able to be completed on our timeline.
Right.
So change budget calendar and timeline to budget preparation timeline. Is that what I'm
Budget
understanding?
preparation calendar and timeline. Just add the word preparation in there.
So we're inserting preparation.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Does that fit what everybody does?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that also fits what is in there.
Right.
Outline of the budget process.
Fine.
That is on staff side. That'll be, that would be not working with the board. That would be working with staff to get the information that they need to put the budget together.
I would say the next bullet needs to be separated out. First of all, they don't lead the budget committee meetings, they staff the budget committee meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then a new bullet would be to attend.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deliverable.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Lightyear.
I have some problems with virtual because you don't have an easy back and forth. You're dealing with numbers which can be misunderstood.
So I think that that's a good point, and that, again, that one item has a lot in it, and it needs to be separated out. So we've got staff, budget committee meetings, attend budget committee meetings in person, and I would say unless there's a previous agreement with the board, because I would say budget committee meetings need to be attended in person.
Mm-hmm.
The board budget hearing could be attended in virtually.
Yes.
Because by then, the work's done.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And that's actually a bullet, attend board budget hearing in person or virtually.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not included here somewhere.
Is that, everybody good on that? More clear? Prepare proposed budget, assist with publishing statutory budget notices.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Statutory.
So then we can strike all the rest of that stuff.
Would you repeat that?
Assist with publishing statutory budget notices. And that is not to say that this person will be publishing those notices, but they're going to assist with it so that Sarah can make sure that those are noticed according to where we notice those things and where.
And within the correct time frame.
Yes. And that covers then all of them, and we don't have to list each individual one thinking that, oops, maybe we forgot one, and then they say they aren't responsible for them. Does that?
Yep.
Okay.
Just one thing, I was wondering if to add in parentheses, they probably know this, what the public notice
No,
deadlines are.
that's what's,
Oh, so Sarah does that?
they're assisting, and Sarah will make sure that,
Oh, Sarah's deadline, excuse me. Okay, you know what I mean.
And if they fulfill these qualifications that we've asked for, they would know that.
Okay, what they say and what they do are two
Well,
different things.
that's,
Okay. Whole budget meeting, I think that comes out of there. They don't hold a budget meeting. We've already said they staff budget committee and that they attend the budget hearing.
as needed, assist with the adaptation of the budget,
They don't make appropriations.
comma, appropriations, and categorize taxes, including development of a budget adoption resolution.
Right, to get rid of impose and impose taxes. And so, as needed, assist with the adaptation of the budget, comma, appropriations, comma, and categorization of taxes.
Including the development of the
Yes.
adoption resolution.
Right, including development of a budget adoption resolution. Do I need to say that again for you?
No, I'm just a question about the taxes with the payroll tax. I mean,
Not part of this.
That's
it's not part of,
no.
so why would they? I don't quite understand then.
Taxes here is revenue.
So you're talking about revenue, excuse me.
Yep.
Okay. So,
And they don't certify
They don't
taxes.
certify taxes.
right,
And assist with post-adaption changes as per ORS.
Adoption.
Adoption changes.
Adoption changes.
But they would not assist with post-adopted changes because by then, we have a finance officer.
Mhm.
okay, I'm sorry, I am a little uncertain about the adoption of the budget, comma, appropriations. Don't you need a verb in there somewhere?
No, so as needed, assist with the adaptation of the budget. So if during the process, the committee says, we want to make this change, we'd like to, update here and change this number there, that's an adaptation of the budget. Appropriations, if we need to move things around again.
Adaptation of appropriations. That's part of the whole
Categorize
phrase.
taxes, including development of a budget adoption resolution. So how those things get categorized within the budget, that's just being more specific about the adaptations that might be needed within the budget. Does that make sense? Does that help? No?
That's okay. I guess I don't know if adaptation is the word I would use. That isn't review. Modification.
Okay, do we
you know,
need to change
because
adaptation to modification? Let's call it.
You're saying they're going to accept the appropriations.
So let's call it modification.
Modification?
Right.
If I may, it just, took it out of here, it says adopt budget, make appropriations, impose taxes, and categorize taxes. So I was just taking it right out of ORS 294.456. The removal of imposing taxes seems to make sense, so we're not going to increase them, that doesn't make sense. But it just says adopt budget.
That's the job of the budget.
But that's where I'm just explaining where this came from as far
Yeah,
as
but
what the deliverables need to be, and that's what they're saying we need to provide this. So that was used on the basis of my
That,
notes here.
okay. I would say that is the end result of an adopted budget, is those things. So the budget officer themselves doesn't make those things. They
that's what I
suggest those. That's
clear.
why yes, modifications, yeah.
Certified taxes is coming out. And then the last one, assist with post-adoption changes, should be coming out. That's not a budget officer's job. or
Right.
that's
Their job
not
ends
under
with-
this contract.
Right.
It's
Right,
not
their job ends when the budget is adopted.
Right.
Right, so take that off as well.
It doesn't say who needs to do that, but it says it needs to be done.
Well, that's
It
gonna be the
certifies-
finance officer. For certified taxes.
That's a
So the
question.
county, yeah,
The county is gonna certify the taxes.
We take, someone has a duty to take this to the county and certify it.
Right.
I'm just looking to see if it says that the budget officer has to do
Oh,
that.
yeah, after we
Because-
adopt a budget, then the budget document has to be presented to the county.
Right. So that's a bullet.
But I'm not sure this person would do that because it could be the finance officer who is by then.
I think that we would want the budget officer to close the loop and
Close
end
the
the
loop?
job
Okay.
and say, submit
Submit approved budget to
county
county.
taxing officials.
Yes,
Okay, so
Is that?
submit approved budget.
is that in addition, is that part of certified taxes?
No,
it's
that's
separate.
not. And it's,
Okay, because in certified taxes, it is the submission of that to the county is what's
Right, but-
detailed under here.
But,
That was just.
we're gonna
Right,
make
so-
it clearer.
yeah,
Because certified taxes doesn't,
submit
unless you,
adopted budget resolution to county tax officials.
adopted budget budget resolution. Is that what-
Mhm.
So is that the county clerk's,
You
Oh,
submit it
taxation
to
and-
taxation, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and revenue?
Can I get that language again?
Submit adopted budget resolution to county tax
Approved,
official.
approved
Yes.
budget resolution,
No, adopted, not approved,
Pardon
adopted
me?
budget resolution
right?
to county tax official.
So, just to be clear, we have the 2 copies of the resolution,
That tells you how to do
statements
it.
that adopt the budget, make appropriations, and impose and categorize taxes, and 2 copies of any successful, that doesn't matter. Okay.
So then deliverables may be provided as written reports, working documents, or advisory summaries.
Does that mean the last part?
What does that mean?
Not maybe, I don't want to maybe delivered. I mean, it's either written or it's not written. I would say written reports, or reporting.
Well, I mean, if somebody is staffing a meeting, I'm not gonna get a written report, working document, or advisory summary. What,
Well, I thought that's what we're doing, is the deliverables, and they're not
I
gonna be
think that
verbal.
sentence is
Yeah, let's just strike that
unnecessary.
sentence.
That sentence is unnecessary.
And I would be more comfortable if someone researches the exact official for the submittal.
It's the tax
It's already
official,
in
it's
there.
already there. It's the county tax official.
Okay, if that is the official name, okay.
It's the county assessor.
Well, that's different.
It's to the county assessor.
Who is the tax official?
Who is the tax official?
Okay.
In the
I thought,
terms of engagement. I would say that the first paragraph is fine. And from the engagement may conclude earlier, all of that goes away.
So I have a proposal there. The anticipated duration of this engagement is date of hire until June 30th.
I think that's good.
Unless extended by mutual written agreement.
Mm-hmm.
The engagement may conclude earlier upon passage of the fiscal year 2026-27 budget or mutual agreement between the parties.
And it's not higher date, because it's not higher date. because
Right,
we're not
correct.
hiring.
It's not
Thank you.
higher. Contract date.
Very good.
The anticipated duration of this engagement is date of engagement until June 30th.
Of
Unless,
2026.
of 2026, unless extended by mutual agreement. Written agreement. The engagement may conclude earlier upon passage of fiscal year 2026-27 budget. Not passage, adoption, thank you. Adoption. Maybe they help us get through this faster. I'm okay with them being done before then. Adoption of fiscal year 26-27 budget.
Yeah.
Or mutual agreement between the parties. I think we always need to have an out. If it's not working, it's not working.
Oh, I see what you're
That's
saying.
if it's not working, it's not working clause.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
that's good.
Compensation. Are we good with that? Sorry.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So all of the other things are struck. There's nothing else in that.
I would say, under compensation, just like we have a not to exceed with SDAO, we should have a not to exceed with this.
And I mean, this has an estimated structure, an hourly rate, an estimated weekly hours, billing cycle, monthly invoicing.
That starts getting into the higher range.
Right.
As opposed to the contract.
It would make me feel better if we figured out a fixed fee for the entire job and came to an agreement on that with some exceptions for, you know, if this extra work needs to be done, then it's charged at this rate. That's frequently how these types of, this is a complete job. We need the complete job done. If you do the complete job, this is how much you get paid. If there's this extenuating circumstances, then you may be able to bill us this other amount. All told, not to exceed a number that the board decides on. Does that, I mean, that's how I think of this, but I'm not sure how the board feels about it. They may be fine with this type of a setup. You may have better experience from a financial contracting perspective. I'm hoping for some input on this because we do need to make sure that we're keeping far away from, we're hiring an employee and calling it a contractor. Commissioner Stolberg.
You might have just answered my question, but for clarity, this person will be working with Executive Director Carr and not as an employee of the district. So some of these things would not quite fall under that. Right.
That's what my sense is.
Okay.
So,
Commissioner Legria.
go ahead.
I'm not comfortable with going outside of 5,000. I'd rather say you get 5,000 if you, to give him an out, it would have to be approved by the board if you exceed 5,000. Does that, I'm not sure, this is not my field of expertise. Not that I have one, but this is less so.
Commissioner Teeple.
You're talking about 3 months of full-time work for a professional,
I'm not sure it's full-time. Is it full-time?
isn't it?
I don't know. My estimation, because of the size of the budget, it's probably 10 hours a week. I mean, we don't have, it's not a large document, not a large volume.
Okay.
The difficulty with a fixed fee is I'd have to detail all the tasks, and so I don't have that expertise to do that either. So I think not to exceed 5,000 or some other number would get us, and then of course the people responding to our request will come back and say, well, we're not going to do it for that. We got to do it for 10 grand, or they're going to say, oh yeah, we can do it for 2,000. Or they will, if you say 5,000, they're all going to come in at 495.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just.
Commissioner Montero.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I just computed the monthly salary of our finance officer. And so I could suggest a not to exceed $7,500.
Commissioner York.
In my experience, the budget officer is generally doing other work as well.
Yes.
They're not dedicating 40 plus hours. So I don't think it is full time, but I do think you have to look at some figure, some reasonable figure for a professional, not looking at trying to get the least you can, because we need somebody's going to do the work and do it well, and figure that out. That might be a good basis. I think that gives us a rough amount, but I don't know that I feel ready to say what that amount, I like the idea of putting a not to exceed on it.
So I would.
I just give you the definition on that. That's a full-time salary for 1 month.
But that, is that for finance? But
Has been for 1 month?
Yeah, but
So-
this,
I would just like to refocus us because we're not talking about a finance officer, we're
No,
talking
we're
about a
not.
budget officer,
Right.
which is not necessarily a full-time job,
Right.
will not be an employee of the district, and therefore we should not be basing our estimation for pay on what a full-time job is in that way. However, having a rough idea, I think that having a not to exceed is essential. I think that listing out each and every task is what you do if you are going to be paying on a task basis, not on a complete job basis. It is their expertise that we're hiring to complete the job as described and as required by ORSs. So there has to be a certain amount of their knowledge of what those requirements are to be able to complete those tasks when they are saying, yes, I will do this job for X amount of dollars. This is what it takes to put together a budget. And I'm aware of that, and I'm going to, bid this job based on that.
If you're talking about 10 hours a week for approximately 12 weeks, comes up to $7,500 is about 60 bucks an hour. And that seems not enough?
No, the CPA I spoke to, rates are between 100 to 350 an hour, depending on the level of staff person they need.
But we don't have to have a CPA.
I'm just quoting what a CPA was and I were talking about. So for the same thing, 12 weeks times 10 hours comes about $18,000.
okay.
Commissioner,
I'm trying to prevent a heart attack here. I'm not going to 350. I'll go and study it myself if you're paying that. But the concerns is, one, money in terms of, I don't want to pay more than we paid the finance manager, whatever that is. Okay, we've also said CPA may not be required. We have never said a CPA degree. I don't like to go in the past, just skip that. I just can't, I think if we said not to exceed, but if you go over that, I'm willing to negotiate as a board member.
Well, the other thing to remember is that this is a statement of work, and this is a proposal. And somebody can always come back and say, I will do this, but I will do it for this much. And then you might start a negotiation. But if it were to go over the 7,500, we have not said anything at this point that would authorize the executive director to negotiate this or to take it past whatever dollar amount not to exceed we decide for or decide. I still think 7,500 is fine.
Commissioner York.
When we're looking at hourly costs, we need to remember that a contractor is paying their own benefits, so it's not the same as a monthly salary for a salaried employee. Salary, in public employment, often the benefits are 50% of the compensation. I think it's reasonable to do a not to exceed for David's authority in doing the negotiation, and that if he can arrange that or under the amount, which I don't think we should set too low. He can go lower, but we shouldn't set it too low. And he can go forward, do it without having to come back if it's under the set amount, and then if it's above that, then he has to come back. That, we need somebody to start soon, so I'd like to give him as much authority as possible.
Commissioner Stolberg.
I would support setting a target amount, but realizing that negotiations would probably happen. But what we're talking about doing is finding a contractor. Sorry, I almost said that. Contractor to do what we're developing a statement of work for that person, and dividing that out and to individual tasks doing piecemeal is going to just make the costs go up higher. So just relying on this person's experience and the clear definitions of what work is expected to be done to deliver this final product, I think covers what we need to cover. And I think we should just have an idea of a basic target cost of what this should be. But remember, they're not an employee, so you don't need to do the individual.
So here's again, just prior to Commissioner Montero speaking, my concern with hourly rate, estimated weekly hours, billing cycle is stepping into the vagueness of is this an employee or are they not, and having those sorts of issues, as well as somebody could bill all the way up till, beginning of June and not be anywhere near a completed budget that we can adopt, and then stop. So if we're paying them all along for, hourly for whatever they're doing, which we have no control over, then we're paying them all along on a weekly or monthly basis. To me, it's important that they are hired to complete a task, and when that task is completed, then they are paid.
So what I am proposing is that we do not have a compensation section in this. This is a statement of work, but it's also a request for proposal. It's an RFP. Okay. We're putting this statement of work out. You're going to respond and you're going to say what you want to be paid. And you're going to be paid at the end of the project.
And that is what the compensation section should say.
Yes.
This is a project task that you are compensated for upon completion of the project.
Exactly. You will invoice us and you'll be paid within 30 days of the invoice, whatever. But basically, and then on the other side of it, we authorize a certain level, not to exceed, that the executive director can go to in terms of looking at the RFP, the proposals that we receive. That's what I would propose.
Commissioner York.
I think there may be some limitations on how long you can go without paying somebody. I will just say my one experience, I did some small consulting work which was just for a few days, so I was paid one lump sum after I completed it. But I had one contracted task project that lasted 10 months, and I was paid monthly. The contract was set from the beginning. Now I had to be completing those tasks as I went, and they were not narrowly defined. But there were deliverables in it, and I was paid in an ongoing way.
Commissioner Labria.
I think the difference is that it's a 10-month contract versus several weeks, so you have to have money to live on. If you don't have money to live on, if you're paid at the end of a 10-month contract, but for several weeks.
This is going to be longer than several weeks.
My concern is that there may be legal requirements.
Yes.
Again, as this is an RFP, that is part of the proposal that the contractor would make to us. There would be this fee payable in 2 portions or payable upon this report or whatever. It's up to them to tell us, because again, it's a request for your proposal. And all we're doing is we're saying we're going to authorize a certain not to exceed for Executive Director Carr to have in mind as proposals come in and any negotiations occur.
And I would add that we could add milestones as far as when certain portions of that could be paid. So the initial development of the budget proposal to the budget committee, that could be a milestone at which time you get paid X% of the fixed project completion task. You know, the getting to that point is worth this much money, and that could be part of the negotiations. I just think that we need to make sure that we're getting a completed project out of this and not halfway there. I think that that's important. And I also hear people need money to live on, and there may be legal requirements. I think that that can all be something that gets wrapped into this without it being turned into an hourly, weekly, monthly pay invoice. I think it needs to be task-oriented. It needs to be results-oriented so that we end up with a budget that we can adopt. I mean, I think that's the final deliverable, is an adoptable budget. And it's up to the board to adopt it, but that adoptable budget needs to be, presented and built for us. And that's the primary responsibility of the budget officer. Does that make sense? Commissioner Stolberg.
And we're talking about plausibly 110 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that, it's not a really long time.
Right.
So.
Any further discussion, or are we at a point where, no, we're not done yet, sorry.
So I would propose that in the compensation section, it says that I'm not sure we even have a compensation section.
Compensation will be made on a project basis.
Yes,
How's that?
compensation on a project basis. Invoices include a summary of services performed and will be paid within 30 days of receipt or something like that.
Okay. Does that make sense? That's taken all the "we're your employer" language out of there.
Yeah.
And dollar amounts. It's just, how are you going to be compensated?
Okay, could you just repeat the beginning?
Compensation will be based on a project basis.
That's what I don't understand. What does that mean?
The project is our budget.
No, I know that.
So, but
Does that mean the end of the project? Or does,
They get to propose that to us.
Yeah, that's being, it's framing how this is going to work. You're not going to bill us hourly, weekly, monthly.
Okay.
However long it takes you to do this project is how you will be paid. And then part of the contract negotiations will be what are the recognized milestones of the project and their value, which is not each little task. It's the major tasks in the project.
so as long as it's understood by the applicant what you mean.
You can bet they'll write that in their proposal.
Okay.
Does that, okay. We good? Yes?
May I?
Oh, yes.
Oh, we have one more page.
Thank you. When we talked 110 days, and we talked about a lot of stuff.
We're
so
not
I'm gonna try
talking
to-
money yet. We're not talking money yet.
I'm
There's no money in this section.
just trying to make a point, okay? So if we go at $7,500 and it's 10 hours a week, that's $62.50 an hour. So if we want to go that rate, I mean, that's what we'll get. I think if we do it on a project basis and do an RFP, that's very good. We'll get a number. I think the request for the estimated structure is like in most professional services contracts, they give you a lump sum. But we ask them to break it down so we can see their activities. I've done this many times, and it's a way to see how they do their work and if they're completing their projects. We don't have to go to that level. We can just say, here's a lump sum. We will give you progress payments either by time or the milestones. But we need to clearly define what those milestones are, because they will start a budget and we'll get a completed budget at the end. What else is there in between? And I would need to understand what those milestones are so that we could properly proportion those payments. And then an NTE not to exceed amount is critical. If whatever that is, we decide that if we do an RFP, they will come back to us. If we say it's 7,500 and we send it out, and they'll say, well, we're not going to bid this.
That's why
We
we're
are
not
putting
it
that in there. That's what we've said. We're not putting a dollar amount in this RFP.
Okay. And if you don't do that, you will get really large bids. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, well, that is concerning because we are in a,
They'll have to
Tight.
justify the bids.
okay, but we're on a tight deadline. There's just so much time we
Putting
have.
together a budget is not really that big of a project. Let's stay focused. Coordination and communication, number 8.
I would change that to the executive director. The district contact is the executive director. And change the word consultant to contractor.
We've got a overall change.
Yes, we have that.
Does that section work other than that for everybody? Confidentiality.
That probably looks fine.
Is that good? Number 10, professional responsibility.
You took out earlier something that had advisory only. And so these services, giving us, or being the budget officer and leading us through the budget process is not an advisory service. It's a deliverable. So saying that the contractor does not assume responsibility for final financial decisions made by the district, I think that's appropriate.
That's appropriate.
That's appropriate. But
At the beginning of that.
advisory services only is not.
Are we good there, Commissioner Legria?
Yeah, I have no problems with that. I would just suggest including the ORSs in the responsibility.
That's a good idea. Budget officer, ORS.
There are 3 of them listed on the page. So anyway, it's
So the same that you have listed on the previous page, just make sure that they're listed in
under
there as well.
authority and legal framework.
So that's the ones that are listed under item number 4.
That's good.
And are we on termination?
Correct.
Nope, sorry.
Professional responsibility? Yes, is that where we are?
Just to close that out, we're talking about the ORS 294, 297, and 192. Is that right?
That's
Okay.
what,
Okay.
Yes? Good there?
oh, yeah, good there.
Okay. Commissioner Legria?
Agreeing termination now?
Leave in 15.
Termination?
Okay. Because of the tight timeline, I'm wondering if 10 days, business days is too long. In other words, change it to 5. Because we don't have a lot of flexibility, because Sunset won't be funded if we don't have a budget. So by June 30th, so is 10 business days under the circumstances is a long time.
Change it to 5 business days? I could do that.
Isn't it beneficial to us to have as much notice as possible? We can still move
Yeah.
forward on the work.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what, if it came to termination, for example, where does that leave us?
What that means is, if we're the ones terminating,
No, if we are given termination, we're given 10 days notice that they're going to be terminating the contract.
but
So we want as much time as possible,
But
yeah.
if we want to terminate the contract, then, and we're not happy with the work, we still have to have them around for 10 days.
You don't have to let them in the building.
Yeah. You still have to, yeah.
Okay, I'm just,
Yeah.
we got to look at it from both
Yeah, sure,
perspectives.
sure.
But,
Well,
I
hopefully,
mean, I think we wanted at least 10 days notice if they were going to say.
I was thinking of the other side.
Right, but so if we're going to terminate the contract on the first day that we give them notice, will probably not be the first time that we've already started looking into who are we going to have replace them.
Hopefully that is true.
Let's just hope we don't even have
Right,
to do
so this is not, yeah. Okay?
Good.
Good with 10? Good with 10? Good with 10, okay. And then the acceptance of this agreement.
The only thing to change is
Oh.
Commissioner Legria,
Do we have a lawyer sign this? Our lawyer?
No,
sign it?
lawyers don't sign them. They review them if they don't sign them.
Is the question, do we have a lawyer sign this or review this?
I guess review this would be good. I mean,
Do we need an attorney to review this?
if,
This
I
doesn't
would
seem
s-
like a particularly complicated.
The RFP doesn't need to be reviewed by the attorney. Given what we get back, if there are major changes or considerations, that may need to be reviewed by an attorney,
To be determined.
just to keep ourselves safe.
okay, forget it. On my part.
I would have a comfort level with having the attorney review the RFP.
The RFP or the resulting agreement?
The resulting agreement is what you really
We
want
would
to
do
look
both.
at.
The
I
sort of
don't know
agreement
that
going
they-
out So that we understand that what we're asking for is in compliance with the law, and that we cover it, making sure we're asking for the proper protections.
Commissioner Stolberg,
I would think that would take place in contract review, and I don't think that we should contract with anybody without a lawyer reviewing the contract.
The final
I
contract.
think that's even required. I don't know. But I don't think that we need a review of the RFP. We need a review of the final contract before we sign it.
I think that's what I would agree.
Sounds
Commissioner York?
good.
I would just think that at some place going forward in our financial policies, we would say that contracts over a certain amount require a review, and below that they may have a review, but contracts can be pretty small and compared to the cost of and the time for legal review.
I think that's good.
I agree.
all right. So we've made a bunch of changes. That was the last page. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we move forward with this RFP, the statement of work for the RFP as we have modified it today.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Teeple to move forward with an RFP based on the statement of work as modified today by the Board of Commissioners. Any further discussion? Commissioner York.
We talked about not to exceed, but we didn't
I'll
act
get
on
there.
it.
Yeah.
And we need to keep in mind that we are in open session, and so the information will be available to anyone. Contracts are often discussed, are sometimes discussed in closed session, and I'm not suggesting that, just an awareness that we are in open session.
Any further discussion? Sarah, will you do a roll call, please? Thank you.
Commissioner Alegria?
Aye, yes.
Commissioner Montero?
Yes.
Commissioner Stolberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Teeple?
Yes?
Commissioner York?
Yes.
Chair Gleason?
Yes.
Since we have our regular board meeting, that's on the 26th, right? Okay. 2 weeks from today. I'm thinking about what Commissioner York just said. Given that this RFP does not delineate the cost, what the cost would be, or what the payment would be, I think we can. That's going to invite those who are responding to put their costs in. And so I believe that it is within appropriate use of executive committee to discuss the cost of this contract with an executive committee meeting as on the 26th of March. And I think that you're allowed to, that's a use of executive committee. If that is, I would propose that we set the not to exceed amount at an executive committee meeting on the 26th of March.
Commissioner York.
You said executive committee, do you mean executive session?
Executive session, thank you. I'm sorry.
If somebody could review that to make sure that that's, you know, there's a list of things we can, but to make sure that it's covered by that.
Because I don't know that we have to right now set the not to exceed amount, because this RFP still has to go out.
Commissioner Stolberg.
To my recollection, that is one of the 16 things that we can discuss in executive session. Compensation for a contract. Yes.
There are restrictions?
Yes.
It is one of the allowables, but we will verify that before we go into executive session.
Correct.
And I would ask staff to make sure that that falls under.
Thank you. Commissioner Librarian.
Two, can you put in the word negotiable?
It doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need to be there.
It doesn't need,
No.
okay, and the other thing is, what is the date, the deadline for these to be?
The deadline for
For,
receipt of the
applications.
of the proposal.
Soon, but that's not good, but,
Well, today's a Friday. We could get these out on Monday, which gives a turnaround time, if you say the 31st of March, that gives 2 weeks turnaround, which is sometimes more than ODOT sometimes gives on their turnarounds.
it's a good date because it's before Easter, as soon as you get,
I think it's a good date to put out, to start out with. And, you know, if we need to extend it, then we need to extend it. But we want to ask for them to come back in
Very good
within
question.
a good question. Yes.
and if you put until filled, then you don't have
You
to,
can't say until filled, that's a hiring concept.
Yep.
This is a contractor. We're not hiring.
um,
Yeah, till filled is a hiring concept.
Okay, so I would, once we've completed the revision of the document, we could put the post the RFP, give them 10 days to respond. And because it is a request for proposal, it would be like noon on March 31st, or whatever
Correct.
date we pick.
Yep.
Because what we don't want to do is leave it open-ended, because then someone can come
You
in
never leave it
and poach the one that's been public record. And so we make a fixed firm date and a time that they have to have it submitted. We don't have a procurement officer now, so we'll have to figure out how we're going to manage the procurement. We did have a procurement document prepared and reviewed by our attorney earlier this year, but I don't know, it's not an RFP, so I have to see if we're going to be able to adopt that document, that procurement document for this. We should be able to, but I just need to, it's going to take more than a minute to prepare the document, and then we need to decide what insurance requirements we're going to have, we're going to have a bond requirement. I just need to understand, I need to get some reference on what we need to include in this in addition to this. I've never done an RFP for contracted budget officer services, so there's some implications that I need to understand, and I'll try to incorporate those in the final document. But I think March 31st, that's really tight. I mean, but we don't have much time, so I will do the best that I can.
Okay. Anything else on this? Any other financial officer position related questions?
We've got a motion on the floor.
Oh,
I made a motion.
for,
Didn't,
did you?
Oh dear.
yeah. I moved
There we
that,
go.
I moved that we accept the document. We didn't vote on that yet, did we?
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I had a roll
All right.
call.
Yep, we had a roll call. Okay.
My brain
Wait.
is, yeah,
Oh,
yes, we did.
yeah,
Yeah, we voted on that. I just didn't know if you made another one.
No,
Okay,
No,
it's Friday.
yes.
13th.
So
Friday.
we did ask the director to give us information about which bank accounts the money was in. So a quick report on that information so that we are all aware and everybody knows where our money is and which bank accounts.
Any count? How many? I'll just throw it out there. Okay. First page is maps.
Here.
Sorry.
First one's maps, that's Lewis and Clark, that's a block away. You can see our contingency account, our ODOT loan fund account, our STIP account, our general fund, and our payroll account. The next page is our LGIP account, which was $1,209,000.
And this agrees with everything that I looked at yesterday.
And this is from yesterday, so it should.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
you're welcome very much.
All right. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion has been made and seconded by Commissioner York and seconded by Commissioner Silver. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. We are adjourned. 3:29.